Can AI help our everyday routines? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the Northwoods talking about how to make AI better one small step at a time. I had a strongly personal conversation with AI, and it started with a simple question about my bedtime routine. And it ended up being a conversation about ADHD, extroversion, remote work, retirement, and what it would actually mean to build a life that fit me, and instead of what you should be. And this is where I need to confess to something. I have productivity podcasts, but I'm also a productivity apostate. And before you close this, let me be clear about it. I'm not saying that morning routines or evening routines or all the things that productivity podcasters say are wrong or bad. I just often felt like they don't fit me, and they did things that I don't feel like I need to do, and I don't think would really help me. And I started getting this idea that a startup and a shutdown routine for my life would be beneficial to me. Some of the productivities people out there swear by them and honestly think, oh gosh, this would be the greatest thing. And I think I felt for years that I felt a bit like a failure because I couldn't get them to stick for me. Every productivity guru out there, every book, every influencer with this perfect, tidy desk and had the same message over and over again. Wake up at 5, cold plunge, journal 3 pages, review your goals, and then shut down your day with the exact same ritual every single night and no exception. And I tried, and I really did try, and it fell apart every time. And it wasn't because of a lack of discipline like I initially feared. It was because this pattern wasn't my own. It was somebody else's system, and I tried to put my name tag on it. So here's my heresy, I guess, if you want to call it that, in the productivity world. I don't think that there is one true productivity system out there. I think that there are great practices, and some of them are genuinely good for me. Some of them might be genuinely good for you. And your job isn't to adopt the whole doctrine of somebody's idea of a solid day. Your job is to take whatever serves you and leave the rest at the door. No guilt, no apology. And that's where AI changed something for me. Not by handing me a routine to follow, but by helping me figure out a routine, what my morning and my evening actually needed. And so instead of writing a book or reading an article or listening to a podcast, AI actually customized a plan for me and what my plan should look like. So you can get morning routines from all different kinds of places. Like I said, podcasts, YouTube, productivity gurus, sleep experts, fitness coaches. There's no shortage of advice out there. The problem is that every book is written for millions of people. The author doesn't know your schedule. They don't know your personality, your history, your work situation. And the fact that once you go downstairs in the morning, this is what happened to me, my day is kidnapped. For whatever reason, downstairs is like the enemy of me waking up and praying, me waking up and exercising, and doing some other more reflective things during my day. I don't know what happens to me. I go downstairs and then boom, I'm just like right into work and right into doing the thing I need to do. So the last part we'll get back to in just a minute. The conversation got started because I was second guessing my bedtime routine. Most nights I go to bed somewhere around 11 o'clock, and I spend about 30 minutes to an hour, and I play the New York Times games on an app. I got little phone games that I play while listening to an audiobook, lying down in the dark. And eventually I get sleepy and I fall asleep. And this has been working for me for a really long time. And actually I sleep pretty well now. But then recently I started hearing a sleep expert saying that, your bed should only be used for sleep. And if you're doing other things like playing silly little games, stop doing that. Get away from your screens, your games, your stimulation in life. And I started wondering, maybe I could be doing something better. Maybe I'm wasting time trying to fall asleep when I could actually do something that gets me into a more sleepy mood. So I just go to bed and go to sleep. And I started asking, what could I do in order to make my nighttime a little bit better? And so one of the things that AI pointed out immediately, and it reframed the whole situation, is there's a difference between lying awake in bed frustrated that you can't sleep and having a wind down routine. Someone with insomnia who was lying in bed and watching the clock and worrying about tomorrow, which I did for 45 years of my life, getting frustrated that sleep won't come. And that pattern of sleep is what the experts are trying to interrupt. It's not the same thing as me listening to an audiobook, doing a crossword puzzle, and then gradually becoming sleepy. So once I heard that distinction, then the question came completely different. Now, if it is possible that my bedtime routine isn't objectively correct, it became this routine that served me very well, but maybe I could do a little bit better. And then the answer came back yesterday. And then I said, well, maybe I should be doing something else with that last hour. Maybe I should be reading the Bible. I should be doing a little knitting. I should be reading a book. And so then AI stopped me there too, because the difference between productive activities and restorative activities is quite different. I was basically editing podcasts right up to the time of bed, or even recording them, and it's activating my brain. I'm an extrovert, and for whatever reason, recording podcasts trip whatever is in my brain as extrovert energy, and I wind up. And so my brain gets moving, it's generating decisions, and it wants to keep going. And that is the opposite of a wind down routine. But reading scripture, knitting, listening to audiobook, there's a number of different things that I could do that would be meaningful without causing my brain to go into overdrive. And that is part of the transition rather than the extension of the day. So what emerged out of that conversation wasn't just a bedtime routine. It became what we started calling a shutdown sequence. I spent years in IT, and the one thing I know is that, if you're about servers, is that you don't go into full utilization and then off in 1 second. There is a graceful shutdown process. Data's saved, buffers are flushed, and then it prepares for the transition to shutdown. And I'm a nerd, right? And so AI pointed that my evening routine was almost becoming a human version of that. And so I started to spend a lot of time trying to figure out, in the past, how can I go from a full-blown day into sleep, wondering why my brain couldn't wind down, wondering why my brain is still running in overdrive. And so maybe I didn't need a better supplement or a mattress or another gadget. Maybe what I needed was a better transition. And so the routine that emerged through the night's stretch is there is some vitamin taking, there's some getting ready for bed, there's some reading, knitting, Bible reading, prayer, in that order. And gradually, the night gets quieter and quieter and slower. A shutdown sequence that was not a schedule that's imposed on me from the outside, but a rhythm that was built with AI's help by looking honestly at what I already needed to have happen. So once we got through then the evening, the conversation shifted to, well, maybe I also need a wake-up or a morning routine. And this is where it got really interesting. I mentioned that I was often feeling fuzzy in the morning. I stumble around, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, and I start my day. I'm functional, but I'm not fully awake. And I assumed that this was a insomnia problem back when I had insomnia. But now that I no longer have insomnia, it still happens. I'm just not a morning person. I just don't function very well early in the morning. And so AI started asking some very interesting questions. In this case, this was ChatGPT. What happens when you go birding with your friends? What happens when you go to gym first thing in the morning? What happens when you used to travel for work? Because I used to have to get up at 6, get up at 5 in the morning to catch a 6 o'clock flight. What happens when you were training people early in the morning on software when I would fly out to a customer site? And the answer became very obvious in a pattern. When I'm talking to people, I wake up. When I'm at the gym around other people, I wake up. And when I'm teaching people in a training class or birding with my bud, I wake up. And suddenly, that's it. I'm an extrovert. I knew that part of it. But what sounded really obvious is the pandemic changed my habits. I never really fully recalibrated. I work remotely now. And years ago, I would drive to work, talk to coworkers in the hallway, have conversations, run into people before my day started. And that helped me wind up. And now I don't have those situations happen. So it's part of the reason why I feel like I'm running on half power all the time. So AI reframed it perfectly. Maybe I wasn't still sleepy. I just haven't finished starting up yet. And so that explains something that was frustrating me for a while. While recording podcast is hard in the morning, recording is one of the more extroverted things I do. I'm teaching, I'm telling stories, I'm trying to connect ideas, and trying to imagine what all you all are thinking of. So that requires me to be fully operational. And apparently, me being fully operational comes later in the morning. So that wasn't going to work either. So then we got to exercise. And that's when the conversation became less about routine, but how can I get my brain to actually start working again? I watched a video about ADHD and morning exercise, and it was specifically talking about how using cortisol, uh, which is what happens when you stress your body, even through the course of exercise, is an awakening response. It's how your body wakes you up, is cortisol. Boost your dopamine early in the day. The science was very interesting, but AI helped me see that physiology wasn't really my problem. The problem was my negotiation. Oh, should I exercise now? Should I do it after work? Should I just do it after dinner? What if I don't want to do it today? What if I don't feel like doing it today? Maybe I'll just do it tomorrow. And so exercise itself may only take 20 minutes. The negotiation took hours. So AI said something that kind of stopped me in this, that the goal wasn't to become more disciplined. The goal was to stop arguing with myself. And so I kind of took that into consideration and thought about it, because I've been spending years thinking about productivity means motivation. So the success meant willpower. And what I'm discovering is that instead of that, it is about removing endless decision making. I don't spend the day debating whether or not to brush my teeth, or I don't debate myself whether I'm going to weigh myself this morning or not, or eat breakfast, or any of those things. These are habits that are automatic, and they don't consume any mental energy at all. Exercise could become that if I started treating it the same way. Stop treating it like a daily negotiation and started treating it like a non-negotiable part of my startup routine. This is what AI was telling me. And it also helped me identify that once I go downstairs, the morning life begins to happen, right? Work email starts appearing in my box. I log in. This needs help. That needs help. I have to start making the day's demands start to happen. And once that happens, exercise just becomes one more thing competing for my attention, but I'm no longer going to do it. So AI's solution to this was simple. Keep a protein drink upstairs, wake up, open the shades, drink a cup of water, have that protein drink, and then, right then, 10, 20 minutes of exercise, right then before even going downstairs, before my day even starts. And what I loved about that is it wasn't the logistics, it was a solution that actually fit my life. It's not a generic life, and your life's not a generic life. You have to figure out what makes you tick, and through AI, it can help you identify some of your biggest hurdles too, and how to solve them. This is not a productivity book's ideal of a morning life. This is about my life. And a fitness book would tell me what to eat, when to eat. A sleep book would tell me when to go to bed, when to wake up. An ADHD book would tell me how to reduce friction. But none of those were, the downstairs was not in anybody's book where my day kidnaps me. And so I knew, because I told it, that we have a very specific problem to solve. The conversation kept going on, and it shifted from routines to something bigger. I'm probably about 7 years from retirement, and I realized that I wasn't trying to just optimize my current mornings. I'm also trying to design my future life. For most of my life, I thought of someone that I would thrive on randomness, that I was a really good randomness person. I drove to work different routes every day. I resisted routines. I thought they were boring and even somewhat suffocating. And then I learned over the past couple years, routines aren't cages. They are scaffolding that you're building around your life. Routines handle the boring things, so I don't have to think about them. They remove negotiation, they eliminate friction, and I don't have to spend any more energy deciding whether I do them or don't do them. That leaves me more energy and more time for the things I actually care about. Birding, Bible studies, podcasting, camping, hanging out with my friends, learning things, and generally being out in nature when I can. So my goal isn't to become a highly optimized person like many people are. My goal is to build a low-friction life. And a low friction life is where every minute isn't scheduled. That's not the point of it. It's a life where basic things happen automatically, so I can spend my attention on the things that actually matter to me. So here's the part where we're going to talk about AI more, because this is what AI actually did for me. It didn't give me a morning routine. It helped me discover the one I needed to do. It listened to my stories, the things I was saying, how I was complaining about how this didn't work because of this reason and that didn't work because of this reason, and I go downstairs and it all gets captured. It connected dots that I had never connected. It asked questions and pointed me towards an answer somewhere in my skull that had already existed. It didn't tell me who I am. It helped me see who I was already. And so there's a difference. And now the thing that AI is genuinely good about, and the thing that I think most excites me, is that it's not always about better information than maybe a book, but it's about, can it help you stop trying to become somebody else? Start designing for a person you just aren't. You aren't that person. My best friend, she's an amazing human being. She is so accomplished. She gets everything done she needs to do. And her solutions aren't my solutions. We're just really different people. So the best routines aren't the ones that are out there that work for some people. The best routines are the one that's going to help you stop fighting yourself all day long. So I've been struggling with mornings for a long time, and any system, that feels like it should work but somehow doesn't. I'd like you to try to encourage to do something different. Don't look for a better routine, but look for a better conversation with AI about your actual life. Bring AI specific details, even the messy ones, the ones that don't fit in a productivity book template. Tell it, that when you go downstairs, your day kidnaps you, or whatever it is that ends up being your problem. You're an extrovert who works, I'm an extrovert who works alone all day long. Tell it that you don't even feel like yourself until 10 a.m. and see what kinds of suggestions it offers to help you. In the end, what it did is I moved to an app that's called Structured. Now I have my morning routine now in Structured app with some notes in it. So I even wrote a morning prayer and an afternoon prayer and an evening prayer. It has notes about what it is I should be doing when I get up and exercise. And it has everything in it I need in that Structured app so that I can get my morning routine done successfully, but also my nighttime routine. And now my whole nighttime routine is a wind down, getting slower and slower in mental activity so my brain can actually get a moment to get tired, to start to rest. And now I'm actually feeling that, I know I have some apps out there. They're telling me I am now less stressed. I am less wound up at night. And I'm actually falling asleep even better than I had been before, because now my day is coming down to a point. So whatever it is, that's part of your day, go ahead and talk to AI and help AI help you claim that time. Make a better morning, make a better evening. You can email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com, and you can see all the podcasts and YouTube channels I do at jillfromthenorthwoods.com. I even started a Substack, and you can find that link on jillfromthenorthwoods.com too. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being out there, and have a great day.